Now we're going to talk about clinical trials. Absolutely. About a decade ago, we had a vaccine called as human papilloma vaccine. Now, this HPV vaccine, which is in the short form called as, about 23,500 girls were recruited from the Khammam district in Andhra Pradesh and also Vadodara in Gujarat, who actually belong to the age group of 10 to 14 years. Now, the Supreme Court got to know about this kind of an issue that was happening because it was completely unethical, and it slammed the government, which was actually in deep slumber because they had not, put their brains in that, because this was being carried out by a non-governmental organization. Now, this was categorically stated by the Supreme Court that this is an illegal vaccine trial that is going on, right? Come 10 years later, now it's 2020, the Bharat Biotech vaccine, which is called as Covaxin, being administered in Bhopal's People's College of Medical Sciences and Research, has seen some kind of violations in a similar manner. Now, what are these violations? Let me put forth those violations. First and foremost is there was no information or explanation given on the pros and cons of taking this vaccine, which is in the trial stage. The second one is they were misled that the vaccine would be free of cost to them. And the third one is they were not made aware of the rights to free medical care if there was some kind of adverse events. And the consent for taken only after the vaccination. Usually it has to be done before the vaccination, but they have taken the consent after the vaccination, and they were not given the copy of consent at all. Now, this is the serious violations that has happened. This clearly shows that it is unethical. But the laughable matter here is the one that the Bharat Biotech is actually working with is the ICMR, that is Indian Council for Medical Research. But HPV was about non-governmental organization, but right now it is the governmental organization which has caused some serious lapses that has happened. Right. So taking all this into consideration, all these unethical practices, Supreme Court in 2013 stated that every consent has to be recorded in audio video recording. Now, before return consent is taken, there should be some amount of before the audio video recording, there should be return consent, and this has to be recorded in the audio video recording so that there is some amount of proof. Now that there are 700 participants who are participating in this trial in Bhopal, People's College of Medical Sciences and Research, there seems to be that all these 700 participants, most of them are illiterate. Now, when somebody is illiterate, there has to be someone who is impartial, who would be some impartial guy who would be assisting all of these people. Now, it seems that there was nobody of that kind over there. Now, the community also says that they were lured for close to 750 rupees as monetary benefits, and that is why they entered into this. Now, entered into this, and the company came out of the press conference saying that 750 rupees was given as a visit for the reimbursement of lost wages and cost of transportation and all that. Now, when a company comes out in the open and gives a press release saying that 750 rupees was given, this clearly shows that it is a street announcement to lure more people into the phase 3 trials. Right? It's not a good thing for a company to come out and tell that 750 rupees or some kind of amount is given out to people. And this would actually lure more unemployed people to participate in this vaccine, which would cause adverse effects. And it seems that there was no follow-up care because most of these guys do not have a mobile phone. And how would the hospital administration even contact, and how would these guys contact back to the hospital administration? So there was no follow-up care once the vaccine was administered, and there was no health checkups. It seems to be that. Now, finally, there was one death. And after this death, the Indian regulator did not publish it at all. But at the same time, when AstraZeneca's vaccine was being administered in the clinical trials elsewhere outside the country, the regulators there stopped it. And back in India, the Indian regulator also stopped the Serum Institute of India in conducting the trials. So this kind of carefulness was shown there, but not in the Bharat Biotech's phase 3 trials. Now, there has to be an impartial probe. Now, this impartial probe has to check how these guys were recruited and how this participant recruitment really happened. And this conduct of highly unethical trial has to be quickly investigated, or else this would affect our future trials for future vaccines. right? So there has to be ethics that needs to be maintained whenever there is some kind of an emergency, or when it really matters a lot in terms of health emergency, right? So in medicine, ethics is very important, or else there are possibilities of adverse events. I hope you like it. Thanks a lot.